welcome in, everybody. Thank you very much for the raid, Mr. Scurvy. Hi, Okay, you guys join me in the midst of attempting to make this map bigger. I don't know if this is going to be the eventual size or if we're going to have to downsize it, but I do have a map currently working. I'm still in the midst of increasing the size of all the weight files. So we'll get over that. We'll get through that here in a minute. Sir Welshie, thank you for the animal treats. I'll get those in a little bit. Hey, Jody. Sir William over on YouTube. Dead Soul Volch Drop. The Demon, thanks for getting the shout out from Mr. Scurvy. So far, at least it was working a few minutes ago when I tried this, but now I've been messing with things. So we'll see if it's still working. I'm also curious if, and I'll have to check this in a future load attempt, how much RAM the thing's pulling. Because you remember that issue in 22 where it would pull an insane amount of RAM to get the map to load. I don't know if it's still doing that or not. But there are some issues I've come across. MacGyver, how you doing this morning? Namely that the map dem file, in the way I've converted it, leaves for... Wait a second. Things are getting better. Or did I screw something else up? I think I screwed something else up. Hang on, chat. We're gonna have to see what I screwed up. I'm messing with a whole bunch of things right now, so I don't remember exactly where I'm at with certain things. Pixel. There. Here, there. I wonder if it's getting better as I finish getting through these. You know what? We're almost to the bottom of the list. Let's just finish getting through these so we can open things in the editor again and confirm where I'm at. So essentially what I'm having to do here, chat, is I have to take one file at a time, drop it on GIMP. I'm now going to image canvas size. I'm going to increase it to 8192, which would be a 16x map. Center the image, and I'm going to fill it with the foreground color I've selected, which is this black here. So now it creates a black image around that. I'm going to hold Control, Shift, and press E to export that file. Writing over the current one with an 8-bit PC gray, which means it's a single channel 8-bit file. Export over it, and on to the next one. So far I've gone through every single one of these files and done this. Once you do it, 70 times, you get pretty quick at doing it. I already went through and did the all of these GDM files and info layer files. You have to use a tool from Giants. Same place you get the editor. It's called the GRLE converter. You drop the file onto the converter. It unloads the file. You then increase the file to the correct size. And then you'll then able to save it with the editor when you open the editor. A macro might help, and there are some bat tools out there that would do this, but I don't know enough about them to trust it, so we're just going to get through this. I've been doing it off and on while I've been messing with things. And as you can see, it doesn't take long, and once you've done it, it's done. So, unless I do this a lot, it is what it is. Now, I'll get a little frustrated if I decide in the end that I'm going to go with a 4X map instead of a 16, because I'm going to have to do all this all over again for the 4X. But it is what it is. Hey, Jay Zambodi, Vince Pratt, macro, sorry for caps, sounds like I need a macro, yeah. Farming Trucker, how you doing? Yeah, you're pulling 16 gig just to load a single size map. I'm attempting to load a 16x map, which should pull a lot more information, but I don't know for sure yet until I get done all of this and can confirm things in the editor. Martin Chev, how you doing this morning? Vince Pratt, I'm doing okay, I guess. It's been a long morning. Frustrating at times as I'm trying to remember things. Basically trying to create a map from scratch. There's a lot of files you've got to learn the location for. Move around. Oh, I've got that working. Whether it's functioning properly or not, I don't know, but it loads the 16x map and you can see shit. Oh, you can say it. You can't remember shit. Neither can I. Goldfish brain. How's it going, Drifter? Yeah, we just loaded up one image at a time. 8192, 8192. Center, resize. Bang, bang. I spend longer waiting for it to load the images in than it takes me to actually go through it, so is it time consuming? Sure, but once it's done, it's done. And new editor with stuff all into... Yeah, I haven't really spent a lot of time in the editor itself. I did spend a little bit of time messing with the Brux last night for Big Daddy. It's one of the reasons why I didn't get all of this stuff done and worked on last night while I had like JD around to ask him questions, because I'd have spent a lot less time banging my head against the wall this morning. Basically sitting here wondering why I couldn't get things to blow up properly, work properly, and I had forgotten to correctly link these files in the i3D. So yeah, little stupid things like that. Exporting things wrong because it's been a long time and I forget the exporting options. Stuff like that. Oh, I clicked the button too fast. Couple more left to go. And we can try and open this in the editor again. See what's happening. Morning, Bodine. Because I know when I was originally trying to do this morning, I was having some really bad issues with the terrain in the game. It was coming in really, really jagged and funny looking. But that last attempt, things looked better, so I don't know what I might have screwed up. This may or may not load, I don't know. Oh, I don't, crazy. Glad you do, but I don't. By the way, trying to run a bigger map throws some really interesting warnings in the error log. See, things didn't move right. See this? Things didn't move right. Something didn't get resized correctly. Morning, Callie. Now I'm wondering if it was one of the times I tried saving this and it screwed up these ahead of time, or aha, I hadn't yeah. So, yeah, let's do color picker here. Image, I need to resize this one to 8193 by 8193. Center, resize, export. $16-bit gray. Hey, Jaren. And then, yeah, I might need to redo the i3D file, potentially, depending on these files here. Downloads here. Got the conversion on this. That one's been converted properly. That one's been converted properly. It could be I saved the i3D early and it screwed it up. I don't know. This takes a hot minute, by the way. Morning, Gallo. Oh, trying to make a map. Trying. Well, I knew it wouldn't be easy. I knew that going in. So there's two things I need to check on right now. One is if this loads, what is the status on how everything looks? Because I might have saved the file partway through the process and screwed up the field positionings on everything. So I might have to change out the i3D file. But I'm gonna, well, I mean, it's no real harm in me changing out the i3D file at this point. I just need to copy my code from one to the next. Step away from Scurvy for a little while, and he changes to look like Darius. Yeah, well, here I am, in all my ugliness. I saw parts of it crazy. That's better. Imagine that. Fields and stuff are where they're supposed to be. But we have a whole lot of issues here. Failed to load density map image. Can't load density map fruits. PNG. Why can't you load that? Not save. Alright, let me try this. Let's go here. Data. We're going to move you to the desktop there. We're going to go Maps US. Data. Bring that there. Convert you. Drop you on GIMP. What's up, Cope? Image, canvas size. Now, this is already a 4096. We're going 4 times that, so we actually need to go 16384. Center that up. We want to fill with the foreground color. File. Export. Okay, trying to get this paint in order. Understand that. 8-bit. No, this needs to be 8-bit RGB. It's the red. I am horrible at scripts and coding for Giants. I wouldn't disagree with you, Cope. I wouldn't disagree with that statement. There's a lot to learn in this version. They moved around a lot of stuff in the editor as far as your tools go. I'm only just kind of breaking the surface. Watch VOD by Lambo. Billy sent me. All it did was make me not want to try this time around. Yeah, I didn't really watch his video, to be honest. Hey, Tigris. Trying to pull this map up and see if I can't increase its size, but okay, everything seems to be in the right spot. Other than a little bit of... Yeah, see? That's the issue right there. See what happens when you bring the dem file in? It does shit like that. Looks good from a distance, but then when you get up close to it, it does that. It gets really bumpy. Trying to import says errors with it could be it's not grabbing the right go to File, Preferences, and make sure it's got the right Giants game path right here. Give up on it all because I was trying to get trailer and fifth wheel hitch on the international truck, but it did not work. It's not usually too hard to do that. I've done that before. I mean, that's not usually too bad. So the problem is, every time I blow up the dem file, it does funny stuff like that. Oh, it's just a matter of finding a vehicle that already has that stuff on it and seeing how they did it. That's my whole trick to doing any of this stuff. Find out how they already did it on another mod and copy it. Hey, Cameo. Alright, so we want to try... You gotta go +1 on this. We want to center it. We're going to go by pixels. So as all, we're going to fill with the foreground color I just selected, which is this. So everything would be at least the height of the bottom of the river. And the problem is when you look at this image and you zoom way in like this, you see how you get these weird gradients here? I don't know if it's coming across the screen or not. That tends to cause some issues when it comes in. It's not smooth. So I've been trying to do, like, do I try to go 8-bit? Do I try to go 16-bit? Do I try it with an alpha channel or without an alpha channel? Hey, Darius. Bubby. There you go. Are you gonna add a holding tank to the current self-full veggie harvester? About to get that to try myself. I want to try and make the pull behind beet harvester. Do the new crops. Hey, Club. Big Papa Sims. Welcome in. Well, we're trying, Sims. We're trying. Problem is, stupid sound card thing reset on itself again.
I'm awake, honest. Ow.
See, this is what happens when you save it with an 8-bit. You get really big ridges. And it's still really bumpy. Like, the whole thing needs to be smooth. Ha! Crashed. That was my sound card resetting itself. Everybody awake? So that was gray with an alpha channel. Let's try 16-bit without the alpha channel. Yeah, every now and then it decides it wants to reset itself for whatever goddamn reason, I don't know. It's probably cheap and it's probably on its way out. Well, I know it's cheap. Just means it's probably on its way out and then I'm going to be stuck back to the headset on my face. Not looking forward to next Friday, Tigris? Why is that? So see, oh, fluffy stuff, gotcha. Steering wheel is pissing you off. One time it works great, next minute force feedback's unbearable. Sorry, Cope, don't know how to help you there. Wait, did I figure something out here? That's in the right spot, so let's save it. This is gonna take a while. Grab me popcorn. Because what it's gonna be doing is you can actually, I'll watch it happen. A bunch of these density maps are gonna convert back into GDMs. Oh, I'll be doing some FS25 tomorrow, Drifter. I'm gonna be splitting shifts, doing some map making, doing some playing. Back and forth. And back and forth, and back and forth. I can't say that now without seeing that goddamn movie pop into my head. Ice Age 2, and the guy's hanging off the back of the dinosaur's throat, and back and forth, back and forth. Uncle Buck. You get 1 to 3 on Friday and Saturday. Getting 6 Sunday, 1 to 3. Yep, it never fails. Anytime I say back and forth, that immediately pops into my head now. Alright, yep. This does take an awful long time to save this first time around with the editor. It can really take a few minutes to get the files to form. All the info layers and stuff like that. Curiously, they have info layers for a couple of things like plow and lime and spraying and stuff. And some of those don't convert. Due next year, I got a feeling my wife is going to want to go to the movies. What? How to Train Your Dragon live action? That looks good, by the way. Damn you, Billy.
My son is in the lumberjack.
Hello? They hung up on me, bastards. Your wife's a fan of Toothless? Yeah, my oldest was a huge fan of Toothless for a long time. Now he's getting older, and I don't know if he still is, but...
Yeah, I showed the trailer to my 14-year-old, and he was just, oh my god, I gotta see that.
See, I don't know how I feel about some of it, because some of the characters aren't, you know, I can hear their voice in my head, and I know what they look like, and then I see the movie, and I'm like, but that ain't the character that voiced it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mr. Evil Reyes, welcome in, buddy. How was your stream? Welcome, Raiders. Welcome to the thrilling excitement of watching an editor try and save. You need oatmeal and coffee? Not a problem. Just kind of got tired, need sleep. Yep. Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Something happened. Yep, there it is. See? Finally. Alright, so now you all need to come out of there. And we come down here, we go this one, this one, this one, this one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. See, like I said, the lime, the plow, the roller, spray, and stubble, and the weeds didn't actually convert into new files. The ground actually looks fairly okay. I mean, it's gonna need some work in places. You know, I'll have to focus in this area here. You know, you get buildings and stuff like that. We'll have to focus on making sure they're not bad. Like bridge connections. Obviously, that's gonna have to get adjusted. So there will be some of that. But I mean, like, the curbs are fine. I mean, maybe come up a little bit. Yeah, so the needs a little bit. And some of that might even just be when it resaves the... Yeah, see, everything's just suddenly a slight bit off in height. So I'd be willing to bet you the dem file needs to go like 1/1000th of a degree brighter. Yeah, see, there's some issues in places where it'll have to get smoothed. For the most part, things are looking alright. I mean, it's just probably going to take a long time in the editor. Getting things smoothed out. Probably start my way across one side of the bottom of the map and just kind of check everything over. The real question is, does it load, and how does it look when you're actually in the game performance-wise? So the thing we're going to do first, we're going to do a Riverbend Springs intro with no mods. And we're going to see what happens to the game. I also want to, while we're doing this, flip the task manager. Performance, resource monitor. I want to grab farming simulator. I want to see. I want to watch as it tries to load some of these things in. Alright, so main farm, 40s, 50s, that's where it's been. See, I'm looking. There's a slight difference in height here. So I'm wondering if what's happening when I'm messing with the dem file is it's, like I said, it needs to brighten by just that little bit of a titch. Mr. Casket Man, thank you very much for the resub. So looking out this way, we're about 60 frames. Looking around, we're around 60 frames. Alright, now. Test map. Just the map. Start it up. Four gig, 5 gig, 6, 7, 8, 8.5. There's 9 gig of RAM. 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, 12 gig, 13, 14, 15, 16 gig, 17, 18, 19, 20.5 gig of RAM. If you aren't pushing 24 gig of RAM, you won't be loading a 16x map. Oh, she's ugly. So 16x map, we're already half the frame rate and nothing has been done to the map. See, I think something happens to the texture resolution when you go to the higher maps like this. See, it's a lot bumpier than it initially looks. Well, stretches, but it's also upping the dem file. When you mess with the dem file, you can have that happen. So yeah, I'm pushing 13 gig of RAM just walking around right now. 40 frames a second. And we have stuff like this. Yes, Cope, I did. I'm thinking 16 might be too much and we just stick to a 4x map. Because if I've already dropped 10 to 20 frames without filling in anything else on the map, you know, there's nothing out here texture-wise. There's no grass, there's no buildings, no trees, nothing on the rest of the map. If that's how it's gonna be, then I'm thinking a 4x may be the best bet. By the way, coincidentally, here is the edge of a 16x map. Here is the edge of their border decal. Hey, Giants. Yeah, it's the same process as 22, Cope. Alright, so the question becomes, do we stick to the try to stick to the 16, or do I go to a 4? And I'm thinking we try a 4 and see what happens. Like I said, it's not good that without anything else, you've already dropped 20 frames. You know, I mean, it's already dropped 10 frames here in the yard, 20 frames. And you've got all this weird stretching that I'm going to have to contend with. Now, this could be a simple issue where, because of how I'm saving it, it's causing the dem file to do that. I mean, that could be part of the issue. So I think we try and do up a set of files for a 4X and see how that handles. Because I was pushing around 60, now I'm already down to 40. People were having the stretching issues and couldn't get rid of it. Yeah, it's likely because of how they did all of the new decals, which means on a 4X, I might still have to do this and smooth everything out. But there's a quick, easy way to test that. And what that's going to be, so I'm going to crash this to desktop. Also, it would take 20 gig of RAM just to load the thing. You know what I mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this map.us file here. And we're going to move this. I'm going to delete all of these. I'm going to take this map.us file. We're going to copy it to the desktop. Like so. I'm going to open this back up. We're going to open this back up. I'm going to take everything from here to here. We're going to copy that in here. We're going to replace all of those files. So I'm going to replace all of that. We're going to start with, in here, I want to go 4096. My 4096. Save that. In here, yeah, reload. We need to go over to here, go 4096. We gotta go 2048. Those. That's a start. Then we need to come back in here and drop this on the GIMP. Even in the editor, they couldn't smooth it out. There must be a new way that needs to be done to make bigger maps. It's likely possible, Potsy. Yeah, I know 1001's out, Cope. I've had it since yesterday afternoon. We're gonna image. We need to go to 4097 by 4097, not 6. Hands. Center, we need to take a snapshot of that. We want to resize that. And then we're going to export this. Export it in the 16-bit gray. There's that one. Convert. Drop you onto here. This is already a 4096 canvas size, so we need to go 8192. Center it up. Resize. Export. We need to go to 8-bit RGB with this one. Rid of that. Drop this one on there. Again, this one here needs to be 8192. Oh crap, I screwed up that last image. Image. I wonder if somehow fix the sunflower maze. Yeah, make it so it doesn't wither. I don't know if that's possible, to be honest with you. Nope, I don't want to. Well, I guess I can do it in here. It doesn't matter. Alright, Control Shift R. This is a 2048. We need to go to 4096. Uh, 8192. There's that one. Info layer environment. You gotta pay attention to these files because they're all different sizes. Like this one here is only a 512, so when you increase it, you need to go to 1024. This one's 1024, and you need to have it white when you're done. So it needs to go to 2048. And you need to paint bucket this white instead. And this one here is 4096, so you need to go to 8192. I paint bucket that one black. Increase the size of the stuff you're doing. Does it stretch what it is, or just it's adding empty space to the outside, Smokeless? So what I'm doing is I'm resizing the canvas and not stretching what's there. That's why you get this big blank space. But you can't leave it blank. It has to be filled in with information, or the game doesn't know how to interpret it. So essentially you take what other information there is, in this case black, and you're adding that into the file. This one here is 2048, so we need to go to 4096. Now this is only part of the puzzle. The other part of the puzzle is going through all of the weight files and dealing with those, which I just did once to a different size. It's a long process, it's a boring process. I apologize making you guys watch it again. But that's what we're testing, is how does the game perform at different states? Because if it performs much better at a 4x than a 16, then that's what I'm going to make. Because I want to be able to put a significant amount of hours into it, right? That, I want to see what happens when I load it in, if it still has that stretching bumpiness. Because this is a much smaller tweak, if you will. Again, 4096 here, so we need to go to 8192. Save that one. This is supposed to be a representation of Arkansas, Missouri. I'd like to add other like cypress and yellow pine to the map. Sounds good in theory. Question is, can somebody make those species of trees so that they look decent to be able to add to the map? Adding them to the map is no problem. It's, can somebody model them to look decently? I mean, that's always the issue. Can somebody model them so that they look halfway decent, not look like, you know, look bad compared to everything else? All right, now. The other thing I need to do in here where is it? It's all down. Here. Starting with this line here. I need to go back to this one. Because nothing's going to happen right now if I try to do this. Oop. Wait, what? What the hell? What the hell? What in the shit? Did I overwrite this at some point and forget to save it? I know I did this at one point. Son of a gun. That could explain a few things. That could really explain a few things. Are you kidding me? Well, at any rate, let me load this into the editor at least and see what it looks like there. Now, the textures and stuff on the ground aren't going to be in the right spots because I didn't blow them up yet. So they're having issues. I just want to look at the ground itself. You know? Well, a little bit right there. And all in all, that's not half bad. And we don't have this issue here. So the question becomes, alright, we're not going to save that yet. I need to go in and edit this with Notepad. And what I need to do first things first is we need to start with going and... Hi, handsome. What can I do for you, baby? Hey, can you move, please? Ah, it's all of this right here that I needed to have. I was gonna say, I thought I had done it. Alright, it's already done. Okay. So that's already done. It's reading those files. Move that. We can get rid of this. Now begins the process of... making sure I'm doing the right files, because that would suck, right, chat? And one at a time, we need to go through all of these. This will be time consuming. I apologize. I'll go as fast as I can. Need to go 8-bit gray, yes. Slide that over. And just one at a time, go right through these. Because, I mean, that's not bad looking, to be honest. There's a few few areas I'm going to have to do, but not near as bad as the 16 version. So if that's the case, I'm good with it. We make this work. Yep, that's why they added long grain rice to the game, Vince, because it's grown in that area. Oh, you're right across the river? Wonder if the game will load without the all of these being done, so I can check it before I go through all of this. We're gonna try it. What's going on, Adriana? Yeah, because I've been working on this for the last few hours. Well, by few hours, I mean 8 hours. Figuring out some of the editor stuff and all of what that is. I don't think Lumia is working right now. Let me double check it. Does not appear to be working on me. There we go. Now it's working. It ain't gonna load. It isn't gonna load without me having it resaved in the editor. Well, we're just gonna bust through these then. No, not that. The fucking fruit fly. Where the hell did that thing come from? Crap, I clicked on the wrong button. Is it Concrete 02? Alright, so what's everybody else up to this morning? Hey, Poppies. Farming, little demon? How's that going for you? I am indeed there, Mr. Pompies. Missing out on money thanks to your back. So you're playing Railroader. Sorry to hear that, Casket. I've already pulled up a 16x map and found that it drops you 20 frames a second right out the gate. Now your work cut up so you can get paid to play. There you go. Pretty much skipping down the road and singing doo-wah-diddy. It would require an extensive amount of work to do it, CJ, but I know how you can. From new mod from Game Fix, but not from maps. So there's a new Giants editor patch out already. Nice, Bin Baker. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, one other problem with going to the 16X is it created a lot of tearing in the terrain. Essentially what would happen is you can do a 9x map, more or less, by taking the files, bringing the dem file to 4096, and then you change your unit per pixels from 1 to 1.5, and you end up with the equivalent of a 9x map, because now you're 6144 by 6144. But the issue becomes it stretches things in funny ways when you do the units per pixel. So your rivers get wider, all your buildings would have to be reapportioned and moved and adjusted. So it can be done, but doing it on an existing map would be nightmarish, to say the least. Not from where I'm at. If I'm gonna try and use Riverbend Springs as my base, not gonna work. If you're gonna start a brand new map from scratch, probably wouldn't be bad. Because you'd be able to build everything the way you want it from the get-go. Well, at least they talk about an upcoming patch to the game. Because that's what that is. Giants game is on 1.2.1, so 1.3 would be the next patch of the game. Which, I'm happy for that they say it's upcoming, but upcoming when? Today? Next week? Next month?
Being that it's Friday, probably Tuesday.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Next year? Alright, there's that one. Which one was I on? There you go, grass cut. I'll tell you right now, the parts they left untouched beyond the border has potential for logging. Yes. And like I said, interestingly, the border area that they put down, the image, is a 16x image. So incidentally, if a 4x map is where I end up, I can use that border and crop out the interior of the new map. And just align it to wherever that lands on the border. While everything inside may not necessarily be the equivalent of what's on that border image, I can get it pretty close. And in the end, keep the look and feel. I mean, what would really be freaking fantastic is if someone knew how and I could probably look into this, take the current map and border and export it as a height map. So you're essentially creating a new DEM file right from it. And then I just crop out the interior piece that I'm going to use. That would be ultimately the best way to do it, because I think it would look the best and it would save a lot of time. But it's very possible to do that landscaping in the editor to kind of match the border anyway. All right, we're getting through this fairly quick, I guess. Because you're right, it does have a decent potential for logging, additional farmland. You don't really need to add much more as far as town buildings. You're really just looking to increase the size of the map for additional farmland. More space to be able to put buildings and things like that, productions and stuff that you might want. There's a fair amount of the productions already built into the map. There's a few that are missing and a few that are currently broken. Which I'm going to have to correct for my map here. But it should be fairly easy. To get this done. Baby productions are borked. Well, see, that's something that within the map I will correct some of that stuff. And they're not meant to be fast producing, they're meant to be slow. They're meant to get you some product while you work towards the big ones. They're not meant to be the end game production. So, you know, ultimately it's trying to strike a balance. Well, again, they're meant to be slow. The question is, how do the large productions run? You got to compare them to the large productions, right? If the large productions are also running slow, then, you know, that explains why they're small or running super slow. Where is the mineral feed materials? Are you looking for the mineral feed itself? Because if you are, why bother? It's you don't need it unless you're running the specific large cow barn that has the self-propelled feeder in it. And then it's required to run the feeder. Any time else, it's just an additive that you don't actually need. Oh, we were able to make it as part of a production mod, sure. On Canyon Crossing. We're almost done, chat. Yes, that was my plan, Jaren. My plan is to split it into two buildings. The small building that's across the road away from the large one would be would remain a sell point. And then the big building behind the store would become an actual dairy production. No, actually, I discussed that part yesterday, I think. Alright, there's that one. Couple more to go. Alright, there's that one. I think we're down to our last 10 or 15 images. Just this right here. You tried making a 4X yet? That's what we're working on right now, boo-boo. Sorry, I missed your message. We're converting the images right now for that purpose. If you do a logging area and need a tester, keep me in mind. That's a possibility. When it comes down to it, there will be a testing phase for sure. I would say for those that aren't already, make sure you're a member of my Discord. And when we get closer to that stage, I will reach out to people or post about it. Actually, I'm sure you guys will see me getting close to that stage on my stream, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like and or subscribe buttons. The follow buttons. You know, all that stuff. It's free, guys. It's free. If you're on YouTube, make sure you get your notifications on so you know when I go live. Actually, this morning, I managed to set up for the first time, the ability to become a YouTube member to the channel. Oh, no. That Discord there, Tigris, is my Discord. There's the SGA Discord, and then I have my Discord where I'll do some multiplayer stuff. Just so I can better keep track of who comes and goes. But YouTube can now become members and do super chats. And I'm working on setting up the stuff so subscribers and or people that subscribe on Twitch, people that become members on wrong button, become members on YouTube will get access to a subscriber/member only area of my Discord. But none of that stuff is set up yet, so just a heads up. Yep, we have heard Mr. Viking Streaming. 2 more to go. Yep, came out yesterday, Daketh, and we're already 3 versions in. Can't update the game, though. To a degree, boo-boo. They're a painted texture that's applied via an image or via an object. It's weird. I have not had a chance to really play around with it at all myself. He left the SGA, Tigris. For example, if say you make a mod and decide to change paths and not do Farming Simulator. I mean, I don't have to, Teen Yeti. None of my mods go on the mod hub. Alright, let's save that up. Yeah, none of my mods go on the mod hub, so as far as steady updates and stuff like that go, I will still do them if it requires it and so on, but I have my moments. I'll get big into Farm Sim for a while, and then, you know, I find myself into something else. I come back to Farm Sim, though. I guess while that's doing that, I can come over here and get the new version of the editor. Alright, there it goes. Perfect. Oh, New Shepherd. Who gives a shit? Alright, so this one, that one. Let's see what we pull for RAM. 4, 5 gig, 6, 7, pulling 8 gig of RAM now. 9. I got to 11.5. So, we're 11.5 from 16 gig. Or sorry, from 19 gig. And let the game load. There it goes. This is off. The minimap's off. But I'm still at 60, still right around 60 frames a second. See, and I'm thinking at this rate, see how the map comes all the way out to here? I could terraform the map to be equivalent to what you see on here. And you can see, look, there could be some farmland in here. We've already got some forestry. Well, fake trees, but I would replace them with real trees. Through all of this, we'd have a nice area out here for boating and fishing, potentially. I'd have to continue the road here. Continue it around, probably up in through here or something. But see, you've already got these roads that come way out. It's just a matter of finishing them off. Continue this road up and over through here. You'll be able to put a couple fields, good-sized fields in there. That road could interconnect as well. These are railroad tracks. I would have to do something with those. Fix up that tunnel. We'd have to fix up the tunnel. But that could be doable. All of this gets replaced with more forestry. You'd have some farmland up here. But ultimately, the ground looks good. Doesn't look like it's going to be an issue with the ground. I mean, other than the minimap suddenly being shifted off, we're still basically at 60 frames. What issue, Tigris? Because there's going to be a Brooks that'll take care of that shortly. Oh, they get rid of it. I did. So your terrain goes to there, which gives you the ability to put some fields in here. Develop this area with forestry in mind. You get a couple fields up and over here. Across the top here. You have all of this area here. Which this is meant to look like a rough hilltop, but could easily become fields after cleared. You have this whole valley here. Spots over here. And for those worrying about the script, the 16x script, oh, everything went black. Oh, better. So I could theoretically keep the border image. Let's make an adjustment to the script. Still an issue with the sky box, but well, I can tell you I got rid of the tree on my save game, Tigris. It does take some work. You've got to play around with it and come at it from multiple angles and so on, but I got rid of them. I got rid of all of these and their stumps. This one here, yep, yeah, that's gone. All of them. So this wouldn't be a bad option if I went that route. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying, Boo. They kind of are a paintable road, but not painting like you just paint it with a brush. They are still an object. As you can see, they have the whole infrastructure to them. They're an object with a ton of layers on them. All of this is a bunch of different objects that you put into the map. And then the decals are applied on top of it. And they snap down to the terrain height. and basically become flush with the road. But it's kind of strange. They become objects, parts and pieces, and see, this is this little one-lane dirt road here. And then if you dig down in here, oh, here it is. This is an object that has a bunch of things applied to it. I'm not super familiar with it. I was just listening to what JD Fan was talking about with NBC and stuff the other day, so I'm not sure specifically like on how they're created and things like that. JD probably knows more. But at 4096, things look fine. If I tried to take this now and go 1.5, it's going to stretch all of the terrain. And then none of the buildings are going to fit to the terrain. None of the roads will fit. So that would be a bit of a pain. It would get me to the 6144. It would be a bit of a pain. Let's close this for a second. We'll save it. That'll take a minute. Not a big deal. Thank you, Dead Soul. For the hydrate and the stretch. Well, that's what people, I'm sure, are trying to figure out, Boo Boo. Hopefully. Alright. I owe treats to Sir Walshy. We're going to get the treats out. I'm going to get up, stretch quick while I'm doing this. And then we're going to get back into this here in a minute.
One eternity later.
Alright. I'm back. How you doing, Farm Mark? There we go. Okie dokie. So let's go. New folder. There we go. Now I can hot swap them. Sort of got to meet your cat, held her for a while, and she looked at the camera. Of course. Cats do cat things. Now, see, the one problem with... you know what? Hold on a second. Let's install the new editor. There it is. Oh, not for a long bit yet. Huh. Leroy Julien Le Picard, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the channel. Hey, Anthem. It will likely be several weeks at a minimum. Ultimately going to depend on which size map I end up going with. If I go to the 16, it's going to take a lot longer to do the terrain. A lot longer. Come on, load. And the problem with going to the 16 is then people are going to have a hard time playing it. Let's see. That right there is the issue with the 16. How lumpy and bumpy the ground is. I could try redoing the dem file quick. But the problem was the last time, even if I did redo the dem file, it crashes the desktop the minute you try to smooth the ground out. So you can't actually manipulate the ground at all without it crashing the editor. Yeah, I sent him the new script yesterday, Farmer Marks, for the 16. But, again, right there, you can't smooth the terrain out. It just crashes. You think they'll remove the 60 FPS cap? You can always remove that if you've got the dev controls enabled, Teen Yeti. If you have dev controls enabled, you just press F3 and it will remove the 60 FPS cap. Provided you're getting more than 60 FPS, you have a monitor capable of it, you don't have VSync turned on and things like that. Alright, so now we're back to the 4X version. Can I manipulate the terrain in the 4X version without it crashing? Terrain opacity. I want to smooth the terrain. Oh, we're painting. Hold on a second. Oh, if you were in the right mode, dummy. Oh, Jesus. Alright, so I can manipulate the terrain on the 4X. Yeah, they don't like the bridge at all. Yeah, limit on the CPU too. If I go to a bigger map, it's gonna be more difficult for people to play it. So I can make adjustments to the 4X. Hello? There it is. No problem. That 16, though, on the other hand, it doesn't like. Fences? What about fences, CJ? Where's your mittens? Fist bump. Bump. Boop. Don't give me that lucky silly kitty. I'm just giving you fist bumps. Look, you're on the screen. Yeah, it's definitely causing major issues, Stimulator. Oh, you can remove... I can remove fences, yeah. The 16X, you get all of this stuff. You bone with a government efficiency grant. Not playing today, but I'll roll for it anyway, and we can make adjustments based off of whatever it is. Wow, it doesn't even want to open the sculpting tool. It doesn't even want to open the sculpting tool. Looks like we're going to be stuck at a 4X. Like a lot of people use the 4X maps right now because the editor crashes and breaks the bigger size. Yeah. I mean, I can't even get into the sculpting tool with a 16X map. Which feels really bad. Like... just means I'm going to have to make adjustments for the sake of... Oh, hey, look at that. 16. It finally wanted to let me do something. B. Asti, thank you. Whoa, Jesus. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the channel. So, I mean, I guess I can manipulate the terrain. In the 16. It's so weird that it's popping through there. Huh. Come on, game. Or editor thing. Just, it does not like to save a 16x map. Jeez, I didn't do much. Come on. Wow. Sometime today?
That's what she said.
Yeah, pretty much. It says not responding, but I can move the window around now. Jesus. Hello? I had another version of the editor open. That's probably not helping. Hopefully not trying to manipulate the same file. That would suck. Come on!
I got some good news.
What's that, Scurvy? You
I
get the
to
rest of the
go
week
crack
off?
No, I get to go. It's Friday.
Well, yeah, but you could be out for the day already instead of having to work the rest of the day.
No, I have to work for the rest of the day. But I get to go crack the skulls of a vendor of mine now.
Yay!
Because they tried calling us a liar, and that usually doesn't work out well for them. Yay!
Fire a vendor.
Well, they're getting bought out anyway, so have fun. I know your job's probably at risk the way you're sending these emails.
Nice. All right, this is ridiculous. It's still trying to save.
No.
Hey, there it finally goes. It took 364,465 milliseconds.
3.5 minutes.
Yeah, just to save from a very small amount of terrain manipulation.
Oh dear.
So, a 4X, I don't know if you've been following along, Scurvy.
I've had you on mute because I was in a 2-hour-long meeting, so.
So the 4X map will cost you about 12 gig of RAM to load.
Okay.
You need to have a minimum of 12 gig of RAM to load.
Oh, free RAM.
A free RAM, yep. And you don't really notice a drop in frame rates.
Bad on the first, good on the second. Okay, I can live with that.
Well,
Now,
it takes you around 8 gig of RAM to load a regular sized map. Just FYI.
okay, so that's not too bad then. So we're only adding on
About
we're
50%.
quadrupling.
Yeah, we're quadrupling the space and taking about half as much
Space.
RAM.
and
But
half
that's
as much RAM.
that's just to load. Once
That's
you
just
load in, it drops out. Like 22,
Right.
it had that huge spike where it would,
Right,
I
at
need
20%,
this.
and then at 85%, and then it would die down.
Well, this is
So
at 95% now. It really kicks in and
Okay.
hits hard.
When it kicks in, it hits hard. So I mean, that's not too bad because people are normal with that, and I think most of our farm sim users out there, our maps have higher. Nice hat.
But currently, right now, Scurvy, this is a 16x. And you can knock about 18 frames right off the top. I go from bordering 60 to 40 without filling in the remainder of the map.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's really not good.
And I'd have to go around and fix all of this weird terraforming because there's all these weird bumps. And then look what happens to all of the like terrain deformation looking stuff.
Yeah.
That looks like butthole.
Yeah. Now you are streaming too.
I am. But I'm going off of the fact that it costs me about 60 frames. I'm around 60 frames when I'm I don't know. That looks kind of funny. The terrain deformation. Yeah. Oh, wow.
That looks deep. Yeah.
That looks like butthole.
Yeah. It looks like you got skinny tires on there, bud.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is a 16. And I mean, it's coming up a little bit, maybe. Hey, Tug. But the terrain deformation really looks bad.
And I wonder if that's just something else that needs to be modified.
Well, it seems to be an issue with bigger maps that people have been reporting.
Yeah.
So that's a 16x map.
Yeah.
And again, you really only have 1x worth of material on that 16x.
True. So.
You know, there's only 1x worth of stuff on there.
Yeah.
By the time you start adding in fields and grass and other stuff like that, you're already gonna start dropping.
Yep. Great.
I don't know why I called this map US 4. It needs to be map US 8. Now, I've kept both sets of files. Right now I have a 16x set of files and a 4x set of files, so I can hot swap them as I'm testing this stuff. Well, yeah, it's packed in, Potsy, but you're not really. But my goal isn't really to move a ton of the stuff in town. It will be to set up things outside of town. Town will stay primarily town. Some of the congestion around the farm will be alleviated, but that may not be the starting farm either. I'm still up in the air in that. There's other really good locations on the map that could prove out as a decent starting location, and I might go that route instead. And then that location where the main farm is currently could be converted into something else, because it's kind of a small couple of fields right there with the farmyard. I could put a production in there instead of that farmyard and have things elsewhere. Now, this is the 4X map. I've done nothing to the terrain other than bring it in. You can still see some weirdness to the tracks, but not like the 16.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's additional scale. Oh, excuse me.
And this looks much better.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's still a little bit of weirdness going on there, but only when you're
more deeper than it should be.
It's a graphical thing. It's something to do, and it could just be something that needs to be added to the map that we don't know about yet.
That we don't know about, right? Because it looks like it's doing more depth than it is doing width. Is the thing.
Well, these are narrowish tires, but the ground deformation.
They are, but still, yeah. But still, it doesn't look like that on a 1X map, is what I'm saying. And from here, it looks like it's going deeper than it is wider.
Well, all of the decals look like they're like the height of the decals.
Yeah,
is stretched.
It's stretched too much. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And
what I was getting at.
That could be a simple line item somewhere.
Somewhere in there.
But
right.
4X map, and I'm right at 60 frames.
Yeah. Which is good for 4X. So I'm wondering if the 8X there is the way to go then. You know. For right
8X.
now.
See, the problem is you can't just jump into the way you get to an 8X is you take a 4X map and then you change one of the lines in the i3D. That line is edit. Yes. Close this and this. And oh, that's another thing I needed to do. I didn't actually do 4096. Whoops. 4096. So I didn't even have that accurate. And then you come in here and you search for pixel. And what you would do is there's this line right here, units per pixel. If I make that 2, now that 4x gets stretched to an 8x.
Okay.
Because it's basically just doubling the 4. Instead of, well, no, you gotta go to like 1.5, sorry. So 1.5, and then it actually becomes a 9x map, not an 8x.
Oh, well.
Because you'd be taking the 4096 and it would bring it up to 6144, which is 3 times the 2048.
Okay.
So it essentially makes it a 9x map. The only problem with that is if I were to do that, and I can show you what I mean real easy. We're just going to save it quick and open it in the editor. Yeah, 2 pixels would be a 16. I had to think about that one for a second, Potsy. And it's not how much it's syncing, Tug. It's not syncing any more than it would be on a 1x map. It's the decal that is created during the deformation is stretched. It's not actually that deep, but the decal stretches funny, so it looks bad.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No.
So, by doing what I just did, it moves all of the terrain because it's literally adjusting the width of everything. So all of the terrain moves. See that this river here moved. Your bridge moved because this river should be right here.
Yeah.
So it's now it's now between the 4x would stop here, the 16 would stop here. So it's in between them. But now all of the terrain itself, the normal edge of the map has been stretched way over to here. From here. So you have this really awkward point of now you have to go in and move everything to fit.
Yep.
Now, if Dave is going to create a custom from scratch map,
That's fine.
that's fine.
Right.
No issues. Because Dave is starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Me, I'm trying to start with, what's something that's already there.
Right.
So it becomes a bigger issue.
Yep.
Now, what could potentially happen here is I make a 4x, and after the 4x is underway and going, maybe I make a slightly bigger one. Yeah, it would be fine if you were going to pull like a No Man's, or even pull in elements of towns and whatever else and stuff like that. But after the terrain is done. And then you're placing things by hand.
Yep.
But the 4X map, what I want to try and do, because I think this is going to be what's going to happen, is I'm going to try and mirror the 4X map to where this decal is.
Okay.
mirror this terrain. And then what I can do
Just drop it in.
is take this decal
Yep.
and trim out the middle to match the new terrain,
Okay.
so that I keep this border the Giants made. And then I'm essentially using this look for the terrain, because the terrain would come out like that.
Yeah.
So you get this big lake down here.
Mm-hmm.
You would get some mountain areas along the edge of the lake for forestry. I could convert some of this here into like valleys and fields.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have some fields up and over here. I'd have to do something with the train, because the train kind of comes in through here and just kind of dead ends. So I'd have to bring it further up and then like into a tunnel or something like that,
Yeah.
so it could do its loop back around to the other side.
Yep.
So I'd have to do some stuff with that. You'd end up with some field area over here and some forestry along this mountain area. You'd have these ridges with some decent field area up here. It would also carry in over here some. There's a nice little valley for stuff here. And then a good valley for some stuff over in this area here. So there'd be some significant extra farmland. Good amount of forestry, hilly forestry. And I would make the forestry all of the easily cuttable trees, so you could be getting into yarders and the skidders and things like that.
Nice. Yep.
You know, especially in some of these valleys, densely pack it, you could set up a yarder and, you know, actually enjoy some of the forestry.
Enjoy some of the forestry. What I was also thinking too, you have that lake down there.
Mm-hmm.
Have mining that we use
Well-
barges for.
Well, the problem is the terrain doesn't go all the way across the lake.
So how much of terrain do you have?
It would cut off right here.
That's
Yeah.
fine. So have the right-hand side do forestry, have the left-hand side do mining, and the only way to get to that mining is with barges. There's my
Well,
idea for the day.
I mean-
I'm allowed. I'm just saying.
There is a potential for mining up into this mountain area here.
Yeah.
Or even split it up and have some there
Mhm.
and incoming and some over here. You know, I could put some in here. Put some over in there. Mr. Eyes Only coming in with a raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Crazy Chris, how you doing? How was your stream there, Eyes? I was following along after you got raided by Mr. Tav. But welcome in, Raiders. We are working on a new map based off of Riverbend Springs. So I'm just in the editor right now. We're discussing some possibilities of where things are gonna go. Cartrix, welcome in. Welcome in. Was good? Excellent. So I have been doing some testing this morning on both the 4X and a 16X map. I know everybody, you know, just the editor's out. Woohoo, where's all the extra maps? Oh, I'm working on it. We're doing some testing. The 16X map, I think, is too heavy on the needed performance. And it's going to cut a lot of potential people out of playing the map. So, I think, yes, I'm pretty firm decision now on a 4X map. And, yeah, I could add in, Scurvy, some mining up in here, because you can see the border comes right up to here. I could add in some mining here that you need a barge for. Over here, there's actually a road that carries around, but puts the mining up into these gullies, up into these valleys. But if, you know, fishing comes back, and I know somebody that's making a fishery, they could go over here and bring back fishing, potentially. And then, you know, there's an area up in here you could potentially do some mining and or fields. Do some stuff there. There's a nice valley here. Replace all the fake trees. And then ideally bring the map terrain to this height here. Ideally. I don't know as if it would work. Let me try something here quick. Oh, boo. That's too bad. I was hoping I could select this height. The biggest reason, Sergeant Pit Viper, is because in order to get to an 8x map, it would cause a lot of grief in me having to try and move buildings around using this base map. Because you have to manipulate your units per pixel, you know, your units per pixel and stuff like that in funny ways to get to an 8x map. The game doesn't want to load specific straight to a 6144. So you have to do a 40196 and bring it up by 50%, but that stretches the terrain. No, I don't want that tool. There. Dang. Not gonna give me the translate off of it. Hey, Poppy Lee. Yeah, so essentially you're still going 2048, which is your standard 1x map, to a 4096 4x, to an 8192 16x. In order to get in between, you have to use this units per pixel function. And And when you do that, what it does is it stretches everything. So if I go to 1.5 to get to the 8x map, then it ends up stretching every pixel to 1.5 instead of 1. So your terrain suddenly stretches out in every direction, and none of your buildings fit anymore. Your bridges need to be moved. Everything needs to be adjusted back to the terrain. If I were doing a custom map, then that would be a possibility. Oh, it looks pretty bad when you do it. Trust me. Basically, like, this whole river area would now be 1.5 times as wide. But because it stretches also from the 0 point of the map, it all moves. So this ends up over here. Hey, KW. So I think we're just going to start working on some terrain. Well, yeah, I think we're just going to start working on some terrain. Alright, smooth, subtract. We just want to bring this down a bit. Bring up the size of the brush a little bit. I feel that way, Tigris. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna go until I just barely cover this background. Hey, the Mink. Ultimately, I think it'll be worth it. Put too many decorative trees on the map. Well, I'll be changing that, Jaren. I will be changing that. Not so much in town, but there will be logging areas. Well, I can't go quite as high as they want me to go along this area, because it's going to interfere with the barges going up and down the river. Second chat. What's that? Excellent. My member perks have been approved on YouTube. Ultimately, I'm not going for exactly what they've got here, but it'll be close. I think I'm getting near the edge of the, yeah. Edge of the map's over here. There's the edge. Alright. I want to save it now, quick. Oh, one other thing I need to save about this. Outer area is just an image layer. So, yes and no, E-Bone. The original map has the border area. I've now increased the size of the map, so there is terrain underneath this instead of nothing. And I'm attempting to manipulate the terrain to be roughly consistent with the border image. And then I'm going to take a chunk of the border image away, the inner chunk, to match the new terrain. And then the terrain will match up with the border image again, because the border image still extends beyond the 4X map area. So when everything is said and done, I'll be reusing the border image that's here, and I'm going to make the new terrain match up with what's already here. So this is just me kind of putting in one area where I know there's a road that carries off the edge of the border image, because I want to test something. Okay, it is done saving. Now I need to exit the terrain manipulating mode. Gameplay. We need to find gameplay, map boundaries. For the time being. Save again. Yeah, the 4X map, it was taking 76,000 milliseconds, so about 76 seconds. Minute and change. So yeah, the idea will be I'm going to rough in the terrain to the border image. Up to the extent of the new terrain edge. There we go. I hate it when it does that. I really do. That's like the worst when it starts doing the getting information from update server, and it flashes by a couple times, and then it's pausing in the process. You're like, ooh, did we get a patch? Did we get a patch? You get kind of hopeful for a second, then it's like, nah, fuck you, and loads the game. Like, you suck, you know that? Now, interestingly, I was working on the terrain along that edge. And my curiosity is, what happened with this little road spliney thing? What? I moved that! I moved that collision, you bastard! Okay, so this... Alright, this is not like this. It's missing a toggle box, and we need to fix some terrain here, and I need to get rid of a frickin' collision box. Alright, whatever. Bless you.
Sorry. I thought I was unmuted.
No worries, man. It happens.
Okay, I gotta step into another meeting. I'll see you guys later. I'll be here in Discord, but I'll be deafened and muted.
Yeah, no worries. Alright, this here. You have shape. Terrain decal is checked. And see what happened? As soon as I click terrain decal, it's now on the surface that I just did. But it in and of itself is an object. So you can't exactly like parse a piece of it, tack onto it, without doing like some blendery shit is my guess. So like if I want to extend on this little bit here, I can't like highlight a piece of this. I suppose I could duplicate it and extend it off the edge. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work for me. Oh yeah, it'll need a fence for sure. Actually, that might not be too bad. Because it really only needs to go to right in this area here, and then... A little less. Shuffle you in like that. That'll work. That'll work. That's not bad. I could get around that. I'll have to do some real tight work here to make it fit because I can't do it as a terrain Uh, that's what it looks like. A lot of the decals are really images or objects rather. So all of these road pieces are objects that are brought in, and they now have a new rigid body piece. Ouch. This should be moving the boundary. See, like, even all of this stuff here, all of these decorative trees, are one big group that's an object of the decorative trees. Well, an image of the decorative trees. So you can't manipulate them. So I'm hoping I can piecemeal them out and not delete whole swaths of them. I'm hoping. There's going to be a lot of work in this map. Thankfully, it gives me something to do off stream when you guys aren't watching me. There'll be a lot of this to do. Here we go, testing again. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. The sun came back out.
I know, but it's supposed to disappear again later, I think.
Better.
It rained pretty hard last night. Not hard enough, but it rained pretty good. Let's try this again. Why is it not letting me pass that that border? You stupid tractor. Whatever. It is not letting me pass that border, and I don't know why. That's interesting that it's still acting as though there's a border there. You know how we handle that, chat, right? Well, that's what I did. It's supposed to be in the air by about 3,000 frickin' feet. Where's my manipulation box? Oh, there it is. Yeah, but I don't know what else would be causing the borders. Other than it generating off of that. There's an actual map boundary i3D. Interesting. I mean, the thing should not be on the ground anymore. I don't know why it still is, but it shouldn't be. The save time is ridiculous. That's still not moving. Well, that's going to take some work looking into. But we made some good progress today. Decisions were made. We're going to go to a 4X map. We've gotten started with the map. So we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Tomorrow, I will be back again, as usual. We'll actually be playing a little bit on the map instead of doing modding. Like I said, I'm going to start alternating back and forth. But on that note, we're going to get ready to raid over to Mr. Alpaca. Go hang out with him for a little while. While we're over there, we'll see what he's up to. Looks like he might have a couple of mods ready for us. Not sure. Till next time, though, I want to say a big thanks to, let's see, Scurvy, Evil, Eyes Only. Thank you guys for the raids. Casket, thank you very much for that Prime resub. I greatly appreciate it. Everyone that's tuned in over here on Twitch and over on YouTube, very, very appreciative of the support. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that follow, the like button, the subscribe button. Really means a lot. It's free. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, that is. I know, it's so confusing, Twitch and YouTube. But until next time, take care, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day. And let's go say hi to Mr. Alpaca. Bye, everybody.